Welcome to WGLNA Hobbit. I'm Morphic, and today I'll be taking you through a replay that I had not too long ago of a 7,000 damage game in an RU. Now, I started the battle with going off to the C line from the east spawn, mostly because I'm in a light tank, and when I get onto the ridge from the D line, I can get very good early lights of them crossing from their spawn, that is at F2. Now, there's several positions you can go in a scout. That can be underneath the G line on the reverse slope to get early lights, but it's also very risky, so I'm taking the safer path to get early lights from a safe position where I can use my depression over the sides to get vision on tanks. Now, as I poke over here, I don't really see anything, so I just immediately back off. Maybe my sixth sense goes off or nothing. But I immediately see that there's two tanks crossing the B2 crossing. Now, I try to get shots because there is an angle where I can get shots as they're crossing the bridge, but from my position I don't have it, so I have to move up. Now, I see a T-34 has joined them, and I do have a hard shot that I didn't really see through the outline, but I was able to make it anyways. Now, I move up to the position on the 3 line because there's hills on my left, little ridges that will protect me from any tanks that are sitting at D2, and it allows me to get potential side shots on any tanks that poke over at B2 and B3, such as the Pershing was doing there, or that the T-34 would do eventually. Now, the reason I don't want to cross is because as this Tiger one just got lit, I would have been able to got shot in the back. Now, from where I am, I'm able to get damage and stay safe from crossfire. Now, the T-34 just pokes up, which is not smart because I was lit previously, so he should have known I was there. But I'm able to get some damage. My team takes them out because the majority of them is there. Now, I see the 103 on the side, and I'm able to use the depression that I have over my sides to keep myself safe and only have my turret poke over. So I'm able to get a couple of shots on this 103 without him backing up in time to save himself from the shots. Now, as you can tell, when I fired, it didn't hit the 103, but the shell disappeared. And as you can see, the Tiger one just appeared with less HP. Now, unfortunately, I do bounce for some reason because I did his upper plate instead of a lower plate. But as you can see, for me playing this ridge, it is risky because there is arty, but I took the chance and it ended up paying off because the majority of the team was there, and we were able to quickly clean it up. Now, I moved back over to the D-line ridge to get more of an overwatch over the middle because I am a scout, I have good vision, and I'm able to get good fire position with my depression. Now, the Yak Panther was lit, and I'm just able to shoot him in the back endlessly. It was not smart for him to move. He was probably in G1 or G2 in the back over there, and he wanted to get out when he realized our team was crossing the C2 bridge. But it's too late because we already have vision on the D line, and he's almost certainly and guaranteed to get lit when he does that. Now, I just keep poking up back and forth, using my depression, see if I can get shots, and the CDC lights up, and he's poking over way too much. The CDC has a very good depression, and if he just pokes over a little bit, he's able to use his depression to an advantage. Same thing with the 1375, I'm able to hit him because he's really exposed, sitting out in the open, instead of maybe turning his tank and having only his turret poking over. Now, the T-29 and ISA get lit, and so does this Wheezy 132. Now, the Wheezy 132 is my main target because he's going to be counter-spotting me. He's in my view range, and to do that I have to get shots in his back. Now, I do get lit, and this is where a huge mistake on my part is made. Instead of taking the 2 shots that I had and backing up, I wanted to get more damage, and it cost me almost all of my health except for 250 damage. I stayed there too long, and the T-29 and the ISA were able to hit me from draw range. So I'm stuck at 253 health over here, so basically I just have to stay back a little more defensive and see what shots I can get. Now, the IS-8 is at the edge of my draw range, and I'm able to get a couple shots and just sit back, use my depression, see what damage I can get. Now, this period of the game is where it's really close. We're down on HP, maybe up about 100 HP or so, but I just want to see what damage I can get, snipe back, preserve my HP for the late game if it comes into play. Now the Wheezy was lit again, and again, I targeted him first because he's the most dangerous. In that middle, he can light our entire team from that bush, and I want to try to get him out, but I don't want to suicide trying to rush him when he does have support. Now the 29 is lit. Unfortunately, I missed somehow, but he does stay there, not realizing that he's lit, but we're able to get fired upon, and he does finally move. But this IS-8, unfortunately, does go into the open for him. And I do get lit, and the Wheezy does go into the open, so I want to take him out first, like I said earlier. And when he does get taken out, I'm going to shift my focus over to the IS-8. Now, I did run out of AC shells, and I only have heat left. Now, the IS-8 is tricky. If I shoot him in the lower plate with heat, I will most likely pen. But if he's angled and I shoot him in the upper plate, like I just did, he's going to bounce my shell. So I want to aim a little higher to the turret and pen him like I just did. Because with heat, I'm able to go straight through without any of that spaced armor in the way. Now, my team is starting to wrap up, starting to finally shift over and starting cleaning up the guys, but some of them did die, so... And the CDC pops up, and I load HE. One, because the HE shell on the RE251 has great pen, about 100 millimeters, and I know the CDC does not have the armor, along with the 1375 that's with it. So while I have HE loaded, I hit him for 295, which is way above my average roll. And I'm going to hit him again when he's backing down for 320, and that's using HE. So again, it's way above my average roll, and that's why I always keep a few HE in my tank, just for those situations. Now, at this point, I'm up to 4.6k damage. I've gotten a little blind fire on that Tiger, some on the CDC as he was crossing, and other times on the map, so my damage is a little greater. And again, I'm sitting back, letting my teammates use their HP as the 704 and the E75 is doing to spot them for me. But unfortunately, our CDC does go down, and at this point, the E75s over on the 9 line need to move up, and eventually I will try to tell them and ping them to move up. But the 704 does take down the 50T, which is great. Now, at this point, it's really tough. We're lower on HP, except for E75 and 704. But they do have a VK4502B. And if he uses his armor well enough, almost no one on our team is going to be able to pen him frontally, unless we get the flank. But I'm the fastest tank on our team. So it's going to be really hard to get the flank, especially if there's other tanks alive. E75s are finally moving up the 9 line as I wanted them to do. Use their HP. Their HP is an asset. They want to use it, take a hit for someone, and then have other people put in the damage. Now I finally move up because the 704 is coming on the inside along with the E75 providing a flank. So it allows me to move up with safety, because if someone does poke over against me, my teammates are there, and I'm finally able to get the damage I wanted. Now, Artie is lit, so that's my priority. I want to try to take down instead of the VK that's at full health, but he is behind cover. Now, the VK is at full health, and at this point, our 704 got taken down. Our E75 is at full health, and I'm at 200 health. So, I want to take down the 1375 because he can get me 2 shots. He gets taken down by E75. Now, this VK, I'm trying to go around at this point. On the 4 line, I will be eventually, and use my heat shells as I switched over, because I'm not going to be able to pen that VK with HE at all. Even with heat, I'm not going to pen him through the front. I have to get around. Now, both 375s are alive, and they're pushing the VK back, and he's not paying attention to me. So at this point, I'm going around into the little mountain, going around the 4 line, see if I can shoot him in the back. And basically distract him, get him to turn his turret, and have the E75 shoot him in the side. Now the E75 does poke over the one-shot 75. He does die, but in that time I do get about 2 shots. Now I was kind of fooling around thinking, because the HE shell on the RDU is 100 millimeters, that I can get a good HE pin on his back, not realizing that his back is also more armored than 100 millimeters. So I switch back to heat and pen him for the 3rd time, and a 4th. And at this point, he's turning around because he knows I'm the threat. I'm able to put 250 damage plus on him every 5 seconds. So at this point, I just turn and I run. He's trying to chase me. I don't want him to bring him around, have the E75 shoot him in the back, and just preserve my HP, stay alive, and just make sure I can get him eventually to turn his turret and shoot him in the back. Now he shoots the E75, so I immediately turn around and start going back, save the E75, and because I know he won't be looking for me in the back. He probably expected me to come with the E75 through the front, but I turn around. Now the E75 unfortunately does die, so I have to shoot him 2 times without him shooting me, and eventually I do get him using auto aim, as it is very good to use quite often. And I finish with 6k damage at that point. Uh, that's known, but eventually I do end up with approximately 7,000 damage. And the reason for this is blind fire. It's always good if you have the amount of shells that, for instance, an RU has, just to put blind shells out there. Even if you're not going to hit, or even not going to pen, just put them out there. You never know. If you have a good idea of where the enemy is and where to aim, just put them out there. It's always better to put a shell out there than it is to isn't, because you never know what's going to happen. Thanks for watching WGLNA Hobbit, and I'll see you next time.